So today, I'm going on the Overland. So it's been about 23 years since I first went on the Overland. And back then, we went from Adelaide to Melbourne during the day, and Melbourne to Adelaide was during the night. So that's when we had the sleeper cabins. But since then, I went one time during the day from Adelaide to Melbourne, we flew home. But the last time I went was in 2009, when a mate and I went from Adelaide to Melbourne on the Overland to Crash's parents' honeymoon. Don't ask us why, but it seemed a good idea at the time. But today, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to get myself back on the Overland, see the landscape from a different perspective, as I'm usually always travelling in the air, and enjoy the ride from the land. I arrived at the Southern Cross station at around 7 o'clock in the morning, and not long after, an Overland crew member came around and took down our booking info. So I don't actually know where I'm seated at the moment. Just sort of rocked up and they assign you to a carriage, and you go from there really. Now the card you're provided with says your carriage and room number, which I soon found out room means seat. Now suppose I'm also used to air travel and always prefer to pick my seat, so I don't like the fact you can't select your seat when booking online. Now in saying this, I did ask for a window seat in my booking comments and it was granted, so if you are planning a trip on the Overland and you want a window seat, make sure you request this in the booking notes.
Good morning ladies and gentlemen, I am at the moment in the process of locking the train down. If you are not travelling with us today, you must disembark the train immediately. Thank you.
In front of you there, we will be opening that in approximately about 10 minutes time for tea and coffee service. Our cafe car only accepts card payments. And if you do have any food allergies or dietaries, just let us know. We can cater for most dietaries there. Now the Overland is no smoking, so if you can refrain from smoking on the train, that'd be greatly appreciated. It is a government law, so yes, if you can not smoke, thank you very much.
Okay, currently in the dining cabin right now. Sorry, it might be very difficult to hear me, I reckon. But I'm starting to get in the swing of it. I actually quite like it. I was a bit unsure in the beginning. Very different to obviously flying on a plane. But, yeah, I'm coming around. I quite like it. Different perspective, get to see the landscape, the scenery. We're probably just about maybe 45 minutes outside of Geelong right now. Cruising along. Now as I'm travelling in red standard, this means meals are not served to us and we need to make our way over to the dining cabin, which I really liked as it was a great excuse to go and stretch the legs. My yogurt, biscuit and tea set me back about $13, which was somewhat expected, but there are a bunch of other options available. The Overland first ran in 1887 under the name the Adelaide Express and was given its current name in 1926. The Overland is operated by Journey Beyond with 2 return trips per week with the Red Premium Cabin and Red Standard, where I'm seated today. The trip is 828 kilometres and roughly 10.5 hours including 5 stops along the way. Now it is listed online that there are more stops, so I'm assuming we are not picking up many passengers and there's only a few getting off today, hence the 5 stops. So first stop was in North Shore Geelong, followed by Ararat, before making our way towards Horsham, Neil, Murray Bridge, and then arriving into Mile End in Adelaide. Now I have to commend the Journey Beyond staff, as before we make a stop into a new town, we get a nice history lesson about the area and surroundings.
So to avoid this tax, the Chinese landed in ports inside the colony of South Australia. They then trekked an exhausting 500 kilometres to the Victorian goldfields.
You can probably tell if you can hear me. It's very shaky and bumpy. when we came over to Melbourne in the year 2000, and on the trip back we actually stayed in the sleepers. I'm surprised I actually got any sleep that night whatsoever. But I have to say, this is probably my favourite area of the whole train.
After having my nostalgic monologue interrupted by the shakes and bumps of the train, I got stuck into my lunch for today, which is a butter chicken. The curry and water set me back $17.50. Thankfully it was relatively filling, but they have certainly not gone for a spicy and flavoursome curry, as they were definitely catering towards the bland Aussie tastes. So please comment below, what interests you to consider this form of transport? Is it slower and allows you to take a break from driving to take in the landscape around you? Do you just prefer rail journeys, or are you a nervous flyer? Let me know in the comments. I think one day I would like to take the GAN and possibly the Indian Pacific, and not driving is a bonus, but I must admit, after taking a bunch of trips on the high-speed rail system in China, I'm not a big fan of the bumps and shakes and prefer a smooth journey. But on a positive note, and as mentioned previously, as I do fly quite often, this rail journey was a great opportunity to see the land from down here and not all the way up there. After crossing over the South Australian border and passing through Border Town, we begin to head up north towards Murray Bridge, which will be our last stop for the day, making the final leg towards my land in Adelaide. As we pass over the Murray River and drop off our last few passengers prior to Adelaide, I thought I'd sum up my thoughts regarding today's journey on the Overland. Now in terms of price, it is relatively affordable. I did pay a high price of $175 for the standing cabin, however I have seen prices at $125, but because I only booked a few weeks out, there was the higher price. Something else I'd like to share was that I changed my booking twice before going on the Overland. There was no fee involved and the customer service centre was great, well spoken and easy to deal with. I thought the standard cabin was okay, however, a little extra space would be preferred. So for $230, you can get yourself on the red premium seats where you can enjoy some extra space and in-seat dining. So when I have more time, I'd like to take this trip again, but in the red premium class. So from Murray Bridge, it's another couple of hours to get into Adelaide. And around this time, it began to get very dark, for our arrival at 6:10 in the evening. I hope you've enjoyed this trip with me on the Overland, and if you do enjoy travel videos and this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the like button as it helps my videos out a lot. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, where I'm joined by my partner Cindy as we fly over to Perth to position ourselves for our flight overseas. Until then, all the best.